When Australia decimated New Zealand by 172 runs in the first test at the Basin Reserve, there was some movement in the ICC World Test Championship standings. Thanks to Australia, India are now the new number one in the latest rankings. WTC table, you just have a glance at it. India are number one. So heading into Dharamshala, India are already the number one team, and if they win and make it 4-1 against England, then it will consolidate their hold in the top spot. Heading into the Basin Reserve Test match, New Zealand were on top. India were second. But because New Zealand have lost, Australia have done India a big favor by putting them at 1. With 62 points with a percentage of 64.58. 64.58 percentage points means New Zealand from 75 have slipped to 60 and Australia have consolidated their hold at number 3 with 59.09. If Australia wins the second test at the Hagley Oval, then New Zealand will be at number 3 and their problems will yet again continue. But now with this current trend that is there, and we are almost midway through into the season of the World Test Championship, are we looking at a repeat of India versus Australia again in the final? Because if you look at it, Australia thrashed New Zealand in Wellington. India have already won the series against England. They are hoping to make it 4-1. 2023 India versus Australia at the Oval. 2025 India versus Australia WTC final again at Lord's. It could happen. It might happen because the schedule is in such a way that India and Australia probably have the luck of the draw going their way. The only team that can potentially wreck this is South Africa. But that if a South Africa team is serious about it. Because look at what India is going to happen, what are the series that India have in this WTC cycle. Now one test is going to happen in Dharamshala. After that, you are not going to play test matches for another 5 months. In September, you are going to see New Zealand come home. They are going to come to India for 3 tests. Bangladesh will then follow, either 2 or 3 tests, that we are not sure about it. But it could be that number. India will then complete their home assignments with New Zealand and Bangladesh. But then India versus Australia, the Border Gavaskar Trophy from November to January, yet again might be a preview to your WTC final. Yes, looking at the schedule, how it is, looking at the draws that India, Australia have, you could see an India versus Australia repeat at Lord's. And India versus Australia 5 tests BGT, that will yet again be the preview, as it was in 2023. What about Australia? Because Australia now will play one more test versus New Zealand, then they will go to Sri Lanka for 2 tests, and then they will end their WTC cycle with 5 tests against India. Now, if India can sweep New Zealand and Bangladesh, put up yet another fight against Australia, then you will see an India versus Australia encounter. But if Australia beat them, and then India managed to draw or lose a test versus New Zealand or Bangladesh, then you might see some calculations coming into the fold. Because we have seen that any percentage point of over 60 can give you the final spot. Just ask India, just ask Australia. India somehow made it because they had lost in Indore. So, is it repeat of 2023 in 2025, India versus Australia final at Lord's? Maybe, but then Indian fans will have to really pray, because only twice in 90 years has Australia lost at Lord's. So you have to pray for that. Now the unique thing about this WTC cycle of 2023 and 2025, now with New Zealand's loss in Wellington, most of your top contenders have lost at home. Sri Lanka have lost at home, New Zealand have lost at home, South Africa have lost at home, Australia have lost at home, England have lost at home, India have also lost at home. So, only Pakistan and the West Indies are yet to lose, but maybe that might happen later in the year. What was the difference in 2019, 21 and 2023? The contenders who won, as New Zealand, as Australia, they did not lose a single home test. They did lose away, but they didn't lose a single home test. This time around in 23-25, most of your contenders have lost a home test. So that is why it is going to be a different calculation altogether in this time. But as I mentioned, India, Australia have good draws, but the one team that can upset the apple cart is South Africa, if they take it seriously. Because South Africa have two away series now, one in you may say West Indies, where they have always done well, another one against Bangladesh, but in tricky spin conditions, it could be South Africa's Achilles heel. But their home series is quite good, because they will play Sri Lanka and Pakistan for 3-3 tests. England also, by the way, are not technically out of it. They may be 8th, but then they have one test here in Dharamshala, then they have 6 tests, 3 versus the West Indies, 3 versus Sri Lanka at home, and then they have 3 versus Pakistan, 3 versus New Zealand. That is how they are going to end their WTC cycle, but they will now have to win all 13 tests in order to stay in contention. Whether that will happen, it remains to be seen. But looking at the way how it is, we are shaping up for an India versus Australia final at Lord's. The draw is good in their favor. The only team that can hurt them is South Africa. Will New Zealand upset the apple cart by beating Australia at the Hagley Oval? Then that will throw the entire WTC table into a slight tizzy then. South Africa then, from July, August, they will then start to make inroads. So India on top, New Zealand second, Australia third. But if Australia win at Hagley Oval, India, Australia might be 1 and 2. A repeat of 2023 could happen at 2025 also. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. We'll be back with more updates on sports today. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live. And don't forget, we're on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. Bye-bye.